Hey, I just realized I haven't really formally introduced myself. My name is Lucretia. Lucretia. It's phonic. You don't need to get fancy with it. People tend to throw K's and Q's and T's and I's. Sometimes I go by Farrell the Farm Girl on social media, but La is just fine. So, this is my dog Bristol. Say hi. Sometimes you'll see her in my videos. I wanted to get on here and just do an introduction. Yeah, welcome to Stargazer Farms. And this is a farm that I grew up on, milking cows, loading hay, baling hay, stacking hay. There's a lot of hay happening. This is actually the hay barn that we used to store in. So you're gonna see videos about what I'm doing with this space and things that are happening on the farm. So once upon a time, it was a dairy farm, and when my dad retired, he got beef for a little while. He was renting out the fields to a neighbor. We're still renting out the farm to that neighbor. He's a commercial farmer and he does soybeans and corn. And I'm more regenerative. I'm more restorative. So I'm doing flowers and vegetables. I also do photography. I'm hosting special events. I'm building raised beds. Like there's a lot of moving parts. I'm also doing woodworking. So I'm just going to take you on the journey of showing you the buildings and the fields and what I'm doing and share the stories of what we used to do in those spaces. Because as a kid, I would run around here barefoot, loving on the animals, usually with a pencil, notebook in hand, sometimes a camera that my mom would hide on the top of the refrigerator so I couldn't get it. I would sneak the kitchen chair over to the refrigerator to get my mom's camera because I love taking photos. I knew then, I'm a photographer now, and I knew then taking photos was just capturing that instant moment, and I got to keep it forever. And I always found that fascinating and exciting, and I still do. And that's one of the reasons why I love photography. So yeah, well, there's photo sessions that happen here, which is really fun and exciting. And yeah, just share the story of what's going on here from what it used to be as a active and very busy dairy farm to being neglected and run down to giving this beautiful space a new life. As a kid, I was also horse crazy, like really horse crazy. And when I was 13, I finally got my first horse and rode her all over this farm and all over this like neighborhood. Um, Me and some girls who also had horses in the community, we would just get together every single moment we could to just ride around and explore and jump over logs, ride through woods. As a kid, I would always watch movies with horses and they always had beef cows. So that's what I wanted to do when I was younger. I wanted to train horses and have beef cows. And then I got this idea because it is such a beautiful space. I would turn some of the areas over into garden settings for special events. And after college, I came to my dad and told him my idea. And he was a curmudgeon. He was very old school and he didn't get it. He couldn't see the vision. He couldn't see the potential. I don't think he even wanted to, if I'm going to be completely honest. And he said I could milk cows. And I had no interest in milking cows anymore. I tried to compromise and ask if we could turn the stanchion and the tie stall barn into a parlor. And he absolutely was not on board with that. So he was the kind of person who was his way or the highway, and I took the highway and I left for a while. I moved to Tennessee, but I never gave up on this dream. Like it was jobs I would have, I would always be thinking about it, or I would take jobs that I thought could benefit me one day. And over the years, the plans for this farm have evolved. So that has changed quite a bit. But I think that's just part of anything progressive that an effort you want to put into, especially in business. You adapt and change as you go along. So fast forward many years later and to June of 2022, and I was in the process, I was in Tennessee of pursuing what I want to do here, but in Tennessee. And I was on the phone with my mom and I knew something was very wrong. And I came up to check on her and realized her Alzheimer's had declined to a point where she couldn't be alone anymore. So I quit my jobs, packed up my businesses. I had a garden maintenance business, I had a photography business, said goodbye to my friends, said goodbye to my life that I worked really hard to establish and create in Tennessee, and came here to care for her. And part of my agreement with my brother was to do that. I wanted to finally pursue what I've wanted to do for a long, long time. And so we picked out the property that I use. I have 7 acres of field, 7 acres of pasture, this barn, a grassy area between this barn and the dairy barn. And that is what and an old grain bin. And I pay rent, so I don't get to use it for free. And started working at cleaning up my space and preparing it for what I've always wanted to do with it. And learned a lot. And it's just me. I am doing this all by myself. I don't have any help. Once in a while, I'll get help with a project here and there, but ultimately, this is all me. And you'll be coming along with me as I figure this stuff out. Some things I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to make it work. And I do my research. I go through my farm advisor for different things, but you know, sometimes it's just trial and error here. And when you're by yourself, that can, yeah, it can be a lot, but I'm figuring it out. That's how we learn. You can't be afraid to try. I'm definitely trying. So what am I ultimately creating? It's an agritourism business. And what is agritourism? So I think most commonly people will think of like a winery that does special events or like music on the lawn. That kind of thing is agritourism. It's where you take agriculture and hospitality and you mesh the two together. And so that's what I'm doing here. It's agriculture, it's hospitality, and then, of course, my photography, and just bringing it all together. And there are times and the woodworking, and I have a farm stand. I do question my sanity because it is a lot, but I see the vision. I see what is possible, and that is one of the many things that keeps me going. The other thing that keeps me going, these moments when I'm exhausted, and yeah, there's times I do want to quit because this is really, really hard. It's far from easy, but I really want to share this with someone. And I look around and I see the sky, I see a structure like this, and I know the peace that it brings me, and that's what I want to share. I want to create this space so I can share it with someone who's maybe struggling, needs a break, wants to get away, and can just find the open air and the quiet to be able to just breathe. And that's what ultimately keeps me going. So I have a U-pick with the flowers. There will be vegetables. I have a farm stand. I'm making woodworking items for the farm stand. I have a couple of vendors who want to sell items at the farm stand, which is really exciting because I'm not even done with it yet. It hasn't even officially opened. I have a new announcement that's coming very soon about the farm. That will be coming after this video, and every year I try to add a new thing. So it's the new thing that I'll be adding for this year, and I'm really excited. Yeah, I just want to share like the story and what's happening and the behind the scenes and the good days and the hard days, because when you go after any goal, it isn't always easy, but you have to know your why and you have to know why you're doing it and going after it, because that's what's going to help you stay disciplined and motivated to be moving forward. And to be very honest and very vulnerable with you, I am on a tight budget. I spoke with my business advisor. I've known him for a long time. He is very graciously volunteers his time to give me advice and different business guidance. And I could have gone with a couple investor options. They didn't really align very well for me. But he said that he advised that I just do it on my own and it's going to be harder and it's going to take longer, but then I don't have someone else's hands in my pockets. So that's what I'm doing. And it does get frustrating and it does take longer. It's definitely harder, but I believe in what I'm doing and I see the potential and the reward of what's to come. And that's what keeps me going. I do have access to a couple of tractors. I try to be extremely careful with them. They're the tractors that were on the farm when I was a kid. When I was a kid, they were old. So they're like really old, but I love them so much and it's, this touch of nostalgia when I get to climb aboard and use them for the farm. So that's actually kind of fun for me to be able to use them. And yeah, I'll be taking you along for the ride when I, take those tractors out to do the little bit of farm work that I do manage to navigate with the tractors and the limited equipment that I have accessible to me. So yeah, it's been a lot of hard work, especially with caring for my mom and her continuous decline. She was admitted to hospice in April of 2024, and I had 6 hospice nurses and 2 social workers from hospice tell me I was the most extreme case of caregiver burnout they had ever seen. So at one point, my days consisted of getting up at 4:30 in the morning. That did not work for me going into second season, which was last year. So now I get up between 5 and 5:30. And at one point with caring for my mom, I had alarms going off my phone from 5:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night, and then every 30 to 45 minutes, just so I could tend to her and make sure she got everything she needed while I try to manage taking care of the farm and building up my photography business as well. It's been a wild ride and I'm thrilled that you're here. I hope you continue to check in and join me for these videos. Please subscribe. It's the easiest thing that you can do. Like this video and hit that notification so that you know for the next one that gets posted. And yeah, we're just gonna figure this out together. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm really glad you're here. And yeah, you're gonna get a little bit of everything. You're gonna get some farm stuff, you're gonna get some woodworking stuff, walks with me and my dog, and sharing the history of this farm and what's coming next. So I appreciate you being here.